Hi, I'm Mark Pikert, founder of Meet Me at Crafty, and joining me today at the beautiful The Aviator on Melrose is Hacks and the paper costume designer Kathleen Felix-Hager. One of my favorites. Well, you are.
Thank you.
But also, like, I've spoken to you about a few seasons of Hacks at this point, and now we're at the end.
I know.
Season 5, the final season.
Yeah.
And the work keeps getting weirder and funnier. And somehow more devastating.
I know. I'm so proud of season 5. I feel like when we knew going into this season that it was the last season, like everyone knew it was going to be the end. So I feel like all departments kind of just like really, I don't know, we all knew it was going to be the end and everything felt like heightened and we wanted to do it justice and we wanted to like send it out in a really beautiful way. And I think everyone's work is really, really exceptional this season, all departments.
Watching Dee and Deborah dance their hearts out, or try to, in those clown outfits.
So sweet.
And I heard that you used vintage clown fabric.
Well, yeah, I mean, they were custom designed.
Yeah.
I have a sketch of the original idea. I knew I had to make a bunch of them. We ended up making, I think, 18 or 20 because they just kept adding people, and because we crossboard block on Hacks, so we shoot several episodes at the same time, and this episode kept getting, because of actor availability or weather or whatever, it kept getting punted, so we kept having to change how many clown outfits we needed and different sizes. So we made some for set deck that they hung there. I think there was like 18, and then at a certain point we ran out of fabric because of course I picked vintage fabric. Of course, yeah. And so we had to...
Because you do not make anything easy for yourself.
No, but I just love them so much, and the crazy little tiny hats that they wear, and I know, it was so sweet.
I mean, that's one of the things I really love about your work is that, I mean, every costume designer is so attuned to detail, but the gleeful relish that you take in finding those little details, like the tiny hats.
I do.
Like Deborah's clip-on earrings. And this season, she finally admits that she doesn't have pierced ears, right?
Yeah.
It's barbaric.
Barbaric.
And I wondered, was that like something that Jean has said herself? Or
there were a lot of little moments like that throughout season 5 where there was like little throwaway lines about, even people like names that were mentioned were all often names of crew people. Oh. So that was like very sweet.
I love that.
Yeah.
I also loved Deborah's House of Cards dress.
Thank you.
Was that in the script? Was that your own mad genius?
Well, it was my mad creation, I guess. But no, it was in the script. It said Deborah shows up at Nico's premiere in a dress made of playing cards. So that was the description. So it was up to me to interpret what that entailed. I did several sketches. I presented them to Jen Paul Nuccia. And this was at the very beginning of prep. So I had enough time. A lot of times you don't have the luxury of time, but I did have enough time to get this thing constructed. And then once we settled on the design, I had to figure out how to actually construct a dress made of actual playing cards. So the dress was made in 3 separate pieces. We constructed like a strapless column dress with this amazing built-in corset that gave her this incredible shape. The skirt was its own separate piece. And all of those were real playing cards that were tacked on. And then because I wanted it to catch the light, they were all rhinestoned. And then that bolero was a separate piece because she had to wear it for such a long time. You couldn't sit in it. So we devised
without a paper cut.
Yeah. We devised a way that we would be able to take off the skirt so she could be comfortable between takes. But
I loved, there was something so Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland, just this fabulous Mary Blair creation brought to life for a Vegas red carpet.
The
collar
fan around her neck. And I don't know if you ever saw it on camera, but the back of it was a royal flush that kind of went down into dripped down the back. So
no,
yes.
I don't play poker, so I wouldn't have recognized it if I had noticed. Please, I'm just learning chess on Duolingo right now. I mean, that dress is so remarkable. And I also feel like there are so many subtle moments throughout the season that, having spoken to you as often as I have and being such a fan of the show, just felt like such a valedictory lap for you. And nowhere more so than in Ava's continued style evolution.
Oh, thank you.
Where she feels so far removed from season 1 Ava.
Yeah.
And even season 4 Ava, where she's kind of dipping her toe into, but she's still running around in, oversized boy shorts and sandals at the Americana, her home. What were the conversations with Hannah like about where to leave Ava by the end of the season, by the end of the series?
Yeah, I mean, Ava's trajectory sort of mirrors Hannah's. When we first meet Ava, she's in her early 20s, and when we say goodbye to her, she's 30. So you grow up during that time, right? So it was really important for Hannah and for me. We worked really closely together on Ava to make her feel really authentic. I'm really proud of her evolution and how she grew. And I think season 5, she looks fantastic. She has more money. She has more confidence. She's very sure of herself this season. She knows who she is. She knows what she wants. She's sort of given up. I mean, she wants Deborah, right? She wants to be seen and loved by Deborah. And I think she finally achieves that. And so I think just that sort of like that human validation that she gets, I think you see that reflected in her costumes and how she feels about herself.
What I think also reflected this season in Ava's costumes is this is the first season without an antagonistic relationship between Ava and Deborah.
Yeah.
And so she's not dressing in opposition to Deborah as much anymore, whether consciously or just in terms of visually for the audience.
Yeah.
And so it's really lovely to see them kind of take from one another.
You've seen the finale?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a scene in the finale that I'm especially proud of because there's a line where they're going to go out dancing. And then Ava says, I get to dress you. So she dresses Deborah, and Deborah wears a hockey jersey that Ava had worn in episode 7. You don't get to ever see the full, complete look because of the way it was shot, but it was shot so beautifully. Adam Bricker did an amazing job. And heartbreaking scene. That scene makes me burst into tears every time I see it. But Deborah's dressed in the hockey jersey and cargo pants and these electric boot cowboy boots, and she's just in heaven and just having the time of her life. And the aftermath of that scene, we see them looking out at the view, watching the sunrise in Paris, and Ava's got a fur coat of Deborah's. And then Deborah has on one of Ava's leather coats. And I just love that moment where it's like they're wrapping themselves up in each other. And I think it's so beautiful. And, watching that scene, I just, I don't know, it just gets me every time. I love it.
I mean, you started talking about the finale, and I almost started to tear up because I was like, I'm never going to be able to eat a croissant again.
No.
They've ruined croissants for me.
I know. Well, I feel so proud of the finale, and I feel like it's a really difficult thing to have a beloved show come to a conclusion, right? And I think our writers are magnificent, and Lucia, our director, and Paul and Jen, our showrunners, they really stuck the landing. I really think that they did such a beautiful job in these characters' justice, and the last shot is also something I'm very proud of.
Before I cry, I have to talk about, because in addition to working on one of the all-time great sitcoms, which is Hacks now, I firmly believe it's one of the all-time greats of the 21st century. Yeah. You also got to invent an all-time sitcom for the Paley Sitter episode.
Yes, that was really fun because we've heard about the Who's Making Dinner, the show that, Deborah and Frank created together. We've heard about that since season 1. So to actually see it and create that world, our production designer, Rob Tokar, did an amazing job making that set. I walked on that set and I was like, this is incredible. And then we got to do all the background crew and young Deborah, young Frank. It was just really fun. It was a lot of work to dress all those people. And, we created that whole world. And then all the clothes that we saw in the sitcom, we used those same costumes and dressed the mannequins for the Paley Center. So,
well, and the production photos.
Yeah, we did all that. We did 2 days of photo shoots.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Before we move on to your work on the paper, I have to. No one really seems to ask you about Jimmy's costumes, Jimmy's wardrobe.
Jimmy is he's a clothes horse.
And this season, I was like, first of all, drop the gym routine, Paul. My God, the pecs.
Yeah.
But also, he is a clothes horse in a very quiet way.
He wears clothes very well. Paul in real life also loves clothes, so it's very fun to dress him and. We got to show off his Biceps.
The shelf is hard work,
Yeah.
and when the audience thanks them for that hard work.
Yeah.
But the paper, I mean, talk about two disparate projects. The paper is drab Toledo news office, with one major exception.
Yeah, I mean, it is drab Toledo news office, but I think what's nice about this this version of mockumentary, documentary style filmmaking is that we've really pulled it into 2026, 2025. You know, we've made it current. Like, these characters have a point of view. They're very distinct. We have a very diverse cast. You know, everyone has a style, and visually, I think you're able to decipher who these people are through their costumes much more than I think on the original version.
Absolutely. But also, I mean, because they work at a newspaper.
Yes.
That automatically kind of opens the door for a little bit more personality than someone who's working at a paper manufacturing.
Yeah, no, I think so. It's been really nice, and it was really fun to sort of explore all of these. The actors on the paper are amazing. Donal Gleason is unbelievable. But he's, you know, all the actors are really involved in the costumes, and Donal he's very, you know, it has to feel right. The textures have to make sense. You know, it's really interesting process with him. And then we have Sabrina Impacciatore, who's Esmeralda, who is just like my little Italian firecracker, and I love her so much.
I mean, in the finale at the awards ceremony, was it scripted that Ed says, "Oh, what would I say to Esmeralda? Great dress. Where's your pitchfork?" Was that
added?
Okay,
I think
because you gave her that great red dress.
Yeah, all my sort of only direction for that was that it's an after work event, so people are going to maybe dress up a little bit nicer than they were during the day. But
and she's already here.
Yes.
During the day.
So I mean, she's kind of here during the day. But talking to Greg Daniels, our showrunner, he was like, Esmeralda thinks she's going to the Met Ball. So take that and run.
What an amazing note.
Right? So I was like, I knew I wanted her in red because, you know, that everyone, you can't take your eyes off a person head to toe in red. I wanted her to pop. And that whole cascading, ridiculous bubble train, my tailor constructed that, Rory Cunningham, who's amazing. And we made two of those things because they were detachable, so we could, you know, switch it from one dress to another. But yeah, that was really fun. And then she wore this little tiara and
of course she
stars.
did. She loves a crown.
She loves a crown. No moment is too big.
No.
Like, she could wear that to the grocery store and be fine.
Well, how much of the paper is builds versus shopping?
It's a lot of shopping, but I was able to build that dress. We just finished season 2, kind of up the game exponentially in season 2, and I was able to build a lot of things.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so that's been really fun.
Well, I mean, we were talking about Ava's kind of sartorial evolution in Hacks, but Mare has one as well over the course of the paper.
Yeah.
And by the time she's winning the award, and she's wearing that great satin blouse with the bustier, just stunning, and so far removed from kind of her version of where Ava started, really, like kind of slouchy sweaters and just like ho-hum, I work at this crumbling newspaper.
Yeah, you know, Chelsea Fryer, who plays Mare, is incredible. She wears clothes beautifully. Like, she's such a divine human being, and she's so beautiful. But Mare was, you know, her backstory, comes from the military. She's kind of a tomboy. She wants to be a serious journalist, you know, and so she's at this paper, and she's like trying to just get a paycheck, really, at that point. And then when she meets Ned and they've had this sort of like romantic vision of journalism, she gets so inspired. So by the end, and when they've won the award, you know, that's her version of dressed up, you know, like she's gonna put on a beautiful pair of black pants and a silk button down. And I just thought it made sense for her character. That's how she would dress up.
Absolutely. And she looks stunning.
Stunning, I know.
And also, I mean, that understated elegance next to Esmeralda in Fire Engine Red with the train is just so... It's everything you need to know about those two characters.
It's funny.
And I wanted to briefly touch, because I love talking about men's clothes, because not enough people are paying attention to how much work goes into men's clothes.
Yeah.
The perfect level of middle management suit for a Midwestern company that you pull off.
Oh, thanks.
With these guys, especially Marv.
Yes.
In the later episodes.
Yeah.
Marv and Anne, both. I'm obsessed with those two characters.
I know, they're amazing. It's tricky in the sense as like you're like a suit is a suit is a suit, but it's not. And there's like different cuts, different fabrics. You want it to hang a certain way. You want it to be believable. And we do have different levels of like price points of suits that we use for people. Marv's probably the most expensive. And then, you know, we have sort of the middle ground with the Tim Key's character. But it's just really fun to explore. And like, you know, ties are important to tell the story of like the evolution of like age and fashion sense, and those little details are very important when you're putting a suit together for a character.
Well, as we wrap up, I have to ask you, of course, what is your go-to at craft services when you're on set?
Oh.
A cocktail?
And I like salty snacks, so I go for pretzels and hummus. That's my go-to.
Yes, as would I.
That works.
Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you guys for tuning in.